A great creative with a bad budget is like Ferrari stuck in a traffic.
Right? Sometimes spending too little hurts. Budgeting isn't just, it's how much you smartly spend.
There is no magic number. There is a formula.
Welcome to Performance Spot by APIDM. Today we're going to discuss about spending cost. We call it as budgeting, right? It's an interesting topic.
An important one.
Important one. Everyone, there are budgets that goes around $1,000 per day to 50 cents per dollar, 50 cents for a campaign also we have seen.
Exactly.
So we just wanted to talk about it and explore how the industry and how the marketers needs to think about this. It's about how you smartly spend your budget, right? It's sometimes you need to think how well you can get the results with your budget that you have.
And also, Jathu, I think it's a very broader topic. But let's start with the basic things.
Right.
And we can discuss about the advanced things, and also let's start with basic stuff and let's move into the advanced one. And
before going into anything that in the last week, did anything came out?
Yeah, there are a couple of new updates from my end, but not some quick ones,
Okay.
but actually they are important. So one update is from Google.
Okay.
So they have introduced, like, now you can add 9:16 portrait images to your PMAX campaigns.
Right.
I think there were 3 types before,
Yeah.
right? And now you can add 9:16 as well. I think that will be that is a good update, because as you know now, the Google, they have their own portrait and also the mobile optimized placements as well,
Right.
to deliver your advertisement
Into more devices.
the full screen, and also give it a better visibility, right? So that will be really important to have 9:16 format, because otherwise, the past, when you add 9:16, it will automatically cropped, right? So now you will be able to add 9:16.
And one more thing, I just wanted to shift from the Google, because I just wanted to focus a bit on Meta, right? So I don't want to be on a Google always. Just last week we talked about Andromeda. Andromeda, right? So I did some research about it and then figured out few things. It's not only one AI AI machine. It's going into a four type of AI machines or AI mechanism. They call it as AI driven ad era. So one is Meta Gem, one is Meta Lattice, one is Andromeda we discussed last week, and then sequence learning. These 4 is gonna rule the meta advertising. And if we're going to discuss that, it will be going to be a big topic that we have to cover on a full episode, each of them. In a rough, if I give it, Gem is going to be the brain behind the ad relevance, right? And the Lattice is going to be unified learning model, right? And then Andromeda is the creative matcher with the user. And the sequence learning is the memory-based model, which is going to work. And as I said, we're not going to go on the deep on it. This is just, since we have covered Andromeda last week, people might think we didn't cover the full story, because everyone going behind the Andromeda and diversity, but there is other 3 things that is working to get the better results. I think, as I said last week, Meta is a bit up ahead on that platforms than all of other platforms on result driven. I can see few clients that is getting better results on leads, on purchases, e-commerce. I think Google and TikTok and other LinkedIn needs to up their game on this. Otherwise, it'll be more people going towards it. But it's again the preference of the marketing person and the digital marketer decide what channels works. But as a learning, what I found is bit of results are coming in Meta than other tools for certain clients that I work around, right? Okay, so that's all. And then anything else on?
Jathu. So YouTube actually not introduced, announced something called second chance. What do you think?
What is it talking about?
So it's a kind of an announcement.
Okay.
So if your account, let's say, has been banned before, like due to any reason, now they will give you a chance to get access again.
It's for the creators, right?
Yeah, it's for the creators, like a small update, but I think that will be like sometimes due to the mistakenly or there are some issues as well, like when it comes to the automated processes, like there are some issues as well. But if you have something like that, like definitely, like when the next time when you log into the YouTube studio within the next few weeks, right, probably you will be able to see a notification, right, if you are eligible to reactivate your YouTube account again, right, you can appeal or apply for that.
When you talk about YouTube, one of the other things that is coming into my mind is the search. So YouTube search have been increased. In the YouTube, people searching is bit increased. Couple of months back on Marketing Live, they were talking about YouTube search as well. So when it comes to search, the next big question from the brands and the clients will be, how do we rank, show up, or get listed inside ChatGPT or Perplexity or Cloudy or Gemini or DeepSeek or in LLM. So it being asked from me by, I think, almost right now. Today evening I had a meeting and then there was a question, how we can get into this LLMs. That will be the next question that is going to be coming. It's not an update, that is the industry, the digital marketing changing towards how can I get listed, how can I show my brand inside the LLMs. So still people are figuring out, there are mechanisms, there are tactics being coming out. Just these are free methods. So today we're going to discuss about budgeting. Let's go into budgeting and see what are the things we need to cover, what are the things need to be considered on budgeting. You take on now.
Jathu, first of all, like when it comes to budgets, right, sometimes we spend millions behind creatives, but when it comes to the budget, the advertising budget, right, some people just spend millions behind creatives, but the budget, if you look at the budget, right, probably that is not enough to catch your audience, target your overall audience, right? So especially, basically, not only for performance, when it comes to the digital marketing for branding as well, right?
But I think the brands have some idea, like making controversial, like something what happened this week, invest a lot of money on a video and make it controversial and make it viral and get the impression. That might be a idea.
Anyway, caught the audience, but
I'm just telling that nothing behind that. Just maybe spend a lot and make a video that have controversial or something and get impression rather than spending. Might be having a strategy, something like that.
Exactly.
I'm just kidding, guys. It's just a thought process that I had. If you make it viral, you don't need this thing, that other side. But even though if you make it viral, sometimes you need to spend some budgets to get the audience seeing your target audience need to see it. It goes viral, it might create your brand aware about people know about your brand. But again, sometimes you need to push some extra miles to get your better results. That's where the budgeting comes.
The creative is also important, Jathu, because if you have a better creative, if you have a good creative, a catchy creative, probably that will help to optimize your budget as well, optimize your campaigns, and get the maximum out of your budget, the spend. But again, we have to think about the optimum spend. Otherwise, it won't be efficient. Right, when it comes to the advertising efficiency. The other thing, Jathu, so most people just think like the budget is only to reach their audience. Actually, it's correct, 100% correct, but not only that, right? There are some other advantages as well, like if you want to optimize your campaign learning, right, definitely you should have enough budget allocated to your campaigns. Otherwise,
it won't come out.
The problem is your campaign learning will that's the most important thing when it comes to the optimizations and also the advertising. The campaign learning is really important. As an example, let's say, right, if you have a campaign optimized for, let's say, target ROAs or whatever the conversion driven objectives, right, probably you need to have at least minimum amount of conversions to get some sort of learning into your campaign. Otherwise you just spend and you get conversions as well, but when it comes to the efficiency and the learning efficiency,
right,
that won't.
So you were talking about the conversions and all. I found that this is on the machine side of learning and all what we are discussing, right? And beyond that, on the human thinking also we need to think about it, right? So what happened is, if your cost per acquisition is $20 and you put a budget of $10, you won't get any purchases. So it's another part, right? So your cost per acquisition is $50 and you put a per dollar $1 campaign and expect a purchase. It doesn't happen like that. So that is on the budget decision. It's on one pillar. You have to look on the tools or the advertising platforms learning pattern, and then the next one is what you are expecting a results, right? If you expect 15 purchases, you need to know your cost per conversion. So two way to find it. As usual, I say it's historical data, or go with the benchmark. Then down the timeline you learn it, you might change it, right? So that's on the budget, deciding a budget or how to allocate a budget. Right?
What I basically do is, Jathu, like, when I get a new client or a new account,
right?
So I ask the client to give me a short testing period to figure out, the cost behavior, right? Because that will be beneficial for both parties, like, for the client and also the our end as well. Because when we have some better insights, it will be really easier for us to optimize our campaign, right? Allocate find out the optimum budget and also look at the optimum cost per result as well. Because otherwise, without having any insights about the market or the country, there are some situations like, basically we cannot apply the same rule for each and every market or each and every product or every vertical, right? Probably you need to get some dedicated insights for different verticals and clients before you decide your budget, or before you look at your cost per result as well. I think having a testing period, that won't, I think that's not a waste, right? That's an investment basically.
So when you're talking about the test period or experiment period, so I call it as experiment period, you call it a test period, so it doesn't matter. So one of the other things is you plan your budget for a year, right? So how I would like to segregate this is, don't always, so based on industry to industry, you don't allocate your budget throughout the year flat, right? So what happens is, let's take a travel industry, or let's take a retail industry, right? So let's take a clothing brand or something. You need to allocate your budget based on your seasonality as well, right? So your New Year, if it is Sri Lanka, you will have your New Year, then Christmas, Black Friday. Based on that, you will have your dull period. You have to have a flat budget on there, a minimum budget, and then on the seasonality you need to increase and decrease. So that's where your budget planning comes, seasonality wise. And then on the budget wise, as you said, testing, right? So I would say there should be a budget planning. How it needs to be is always on budget, always on campaign budget,
business as usual,
and then tactical campaigns, and then experiment. So you need to first decide how much I'm going to yearly spend, and then you need to decide what the percentage that's going to be on experiment, what's the percentage on the tactical. So what happened here is most of the budget planning happens for a year, right? And then very rarely discussed with the execution or the budget, the person who is executing, right? And then it's a flat budget. The results won't come like that. So for an example, if you wanted to get a result on a Black Friday and Cyber Monday, we call it a BFCM, right? So that's Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So if you wanted to get a results on it, so you need to have your budget planning. At least your spend needs to start by October, right? October mid, November, October mid, and then November throughout. Then only you will be able to get the Black Friday and this thing. So the budget planning is very important. How I structure is always on, tactical, experiment. So experiment comes into your this thing, and then experiment. One of the other things on the experiment is things are changing drastically. So the platform to platform, new things are coming drastically. Say Google comes up with the demand gen channel switch on, Performance Max vertical comes in, TikTok comes with the shop or search. LinkedIn comes up with the insight tool that's you need to measure. So if you wanted to try these things, you are putting your brand behind if you don't do it. If your competitor does some experiment with the demand gen and you are not doing it, he will find a new user that is targeted. So that's where this experiment budget needs to come. One is to find out what needs to be done, test budget, and then one is to experiment new things coming in. So this is on the budget planning that we have to look on. Right. Let's say anything else.
So because that's a very important point, because there are some advertisers, like, when they see a spike in terms of the performance, what they basically do is allocate a very higher budget
to that
just after seeing the spike or the increase in terms of the sales, right? But that is not the proper way of allocating budget, because otherwise there is a higher chance to increase your cost per acquisition or the cost per result as well, because of the higher allocation. Because then the platforms, they try to exhaust your budget because of, like, they think like you have the budget, so they allocated the budget. What we need to do is basically get the results as much as possible, right? They basically don't have any issues with the spend, right? My job is generate results as much as possible without considering the cost factor, right? So that's a very, very critical issue when it comes to the budget allocation, identifying the optimum budget, right? The optimum level of budget. Because if you want to increase the budget, just increase it gradually, right? Just increase it gradually, like, just 5%, 10%. So then when you see the same trend again and again, right, gradually you can increase the budget, right? And as you said earlier, there are some time periods that you can see some variances.
Seasonalities.
Some variances. And within the week as well, I have some clients, I have some brands, like, they have a very good sale within weekdays, but if you look at the weekends, zero sales, right? But like, just by looking at this weekend results or your weekday results, if you are going to allocate a higher budget just because of that, so definitely there will be
and next one we have to look at in a point of, there are places goes overspending and there are places underspending.
Exactly.
So what happened is, overspending is like, say you set up a budget $10 or $20 per day, but sometimes you will see on Google Ads $23 have been gone or $25 have been gone. So normally what happens is, Google does it like 30-day period. If you put $10 per day, it will calculate on 30 days, like say it's 300, and then it will go 30% higher. That means $309 is the maximum. It doesn't go beyond that. It can be less spend. Underspend is different story. The underspend, you don't need to worry about that much. Underspend is another type of audit. Overspend is, it's just an average, that the mechanism that where the probability of getting more results for you, it try to get it with your budget. Sometimes, say Tuesday might be not $10, it might be spent $6. Wednesday it might go to $14. So on this Tuesday,
opportunities,
Tuesday doesn't have a probability or the opportunity, the audience is not there, then it stops. So on a weekend it might go down, and on a weekday it might go up. So it balances. End of the day, it's average. So platform to platform, it varies. Google goes on 30%. I think Meta goes, I'm not sure.
It's almost all platforms vary between 20 to 30%. Yeah.
End of the day, if you see average, and then it calculates. So don't put a budget for a per day and then look at a suddenly one day and see, okay, 7 days it's have been gone more than $70. So shit, its platform is eating my money. It doesn't like
because
that.
Because most of the small and medium scale entrepreneurs and businesses, they have that issue. Like their threshold is also small. The charge, the threshold, account threshold, and also like when they charge, get charged, right, from the platform. Probably they think I did something wrong, because of that Google or Meta has charged a higher amount.
Right.
Actually, it's not, right? So as you explained earlier,
it's an average.
Yeah, it's an average.
So
and also,
do you want to touch on the underspending anything on that?
Yeah, Jathu, definitely.
Yeah.
Because like when it comes to underspending as well, most of the times there are reasons or factors from the advertisers end as well, right? As an example, if your audience size is too narrowed, or let's say if you have some unrealistic targets when it comes to the, let's say, the target ROAs or your cost per acquisition, if you bid for your cost per result, right? So definitely having some unrealistic targets will lead your campaign to the situations like underspending, right? So most of the times, Jathu, as per my understanding, underspending is something, I'm not talking about the variances like the daily spend variances, right? If you see a continuous underspending situations, like your campaign is not delivering or your campaign is not spending the actual daily budget, there are some demand factors as well.
Yeah,
right. There are some market factors and the demand factors as well. But just check your campaigns. Just relook at your targets.
So what happened is underspending. One is what you said. What you said is like the market, right? So maybe your target is very narrow. One, they have to check the audience is too narrow. One, they have to set bidding adjustments, right? So you go and put up a say CPC, manual CPC or maximum target CPA, which is under control, right? And then conflicting on your violating the policies. You put up some word that is against the user, or you try
the
to
policies platform.
Yeah. So these are the reason that getting limited, right? And then one of the things is it's on the Google Ads side of it. But I don't want to push Google too much, but it's just on the threshold, right? So it doesn't mean that you're eligible, your keyword is eligible, your ad copy is good, your landing page is good, your signals are good. That doesn't mean you will go and show your ads. There is something called ad threshold, very rarely discussed, right? So it's how I can simply explain is, there is an auction happening let's say there's an auction happening, right? So there is different products being auctioned. There's a car, there is a share, there is this thing. So you go and sit with the 50,000 rupees, and there is a car being bidded on the first bid around 150,000. So you can't enter to that auction. Because your capacity is 50,000. So that's where that budgeting comes in. So at threshold. So you go and set a manual CPC, or your budget is limited, you can't enter to the. So there is a chance. I have seen somewhere when we target certain countries like Australia, US, very restricted, narrow audience, your CPM is like $8, $12. And we are used to $1 CPM, 60 cent CPM, right? So we put up a $1 target CPM and expect it doesn't work, right? So we used to put that. See, we used to Sri Lankan highest population.
So
we do that. It's a cheap market, so we do that. In Australia, I know certain targets are $8, $9 CPM. So that happens. So you have to be very careful at threshold where you are eligible to enter the ad ranking system.
Yeah.
So that also will be looked at on the underspending point. So we done with the overspending and underspending. Anything on the campaign, common mistaking on the budgets, we discuss everything. Anything that you wanted to cover or mistaken, we missed it out?
Before that, Jathu, I have one thing, as we discussed about the daily budget.
Right.
And when it comes to meta advertising, we have two different budgeting approaches, like the daily budget and lifetime budget.
Yeah.
Right.
Google also have launched
what you call the YouTube ads. You can add lifetime budgets.
Yeah. So you have it's coming rolling in. So
rolling in, and also some other.
It's on the beta.
Beta version. And so what I wanted to highlight is, Jathu, so when it comes to the lifetime budget and the daily budget, most of the advertisers been asking, like, what will be the best approach to get better results?
Right.
Actually, as per my understanding, right, it's not your budget approach, right? Because, right, when it comes to daily budget or lifetime budget, it's up to you based on your campaign structure and the complexity of the campaign structure. Right. As an example, let's say I have a very complex campaign structure and also the platform structure as well, platform mix.
Right.
So then, if I am going to add lifetime budgets for my campaigns, let's say if I want to optimize my campaigns, if I want to allocate budgets towards my best performing campaigns from underperforming campaigns, I have to recalculate everything again and again. I have to deduct it from the total budget, the current. I have to take the current spend, deduct it from the total budget. So then look at the best performing campaign spend and reallocate it. Right? It's complex. But when I have, let's say, daily budget, right? I have one unique daily budget. What I need to do is basically spread it in between my different campaigns, right? So then it's very easy to allocate, right? When I see something, when I see a good performance coming from a specific campaign, I can definitely just deduct the budget from one of my the underperforming campaigns and directly apply it to the ones I can basically see the performance, right? So it's very easier for me to allocate. But on the other hand, let's say if I have a very short period, like my campaign period is very limited one or very specific one, then having lifetime budget will be easier for me, especially for the branding campaigns, right? Especially for branding campaigns, when I run ads to promote my TVC or whatever the branding purposes, right? Probably having lifetime budget will be easier. I can just allocate the budget. I can just monitor the performance. I don't need to be worried about my budget allocation, right? It will be, but when it comes to performance marketing, and also if you have a very complex campaign structure, then having a kind of like daily budget structure will be easier, for the advertiser.
And on Meta, you have the ad set budget and campaign
CBO
and so it's up to, again, same way. If you wanted to control by audience, you or target segments wise, you go on ad set, and then if you wanted to let the machine to handle your budget, you go on a campaign objective wise. I personally take how it is say for an example, I go on a campaign based budget. If I don't know which type of target works, let's say I have a real estate campaign, real estate leads collecting campaign, and I wanted to target parents who's looking for a nearby schools, nearby apartment, and parents, people who's looking to invest and get money, and then real estate who's needing house kind of a people. So there is different 3 types of targeting is there. So I don't know which will generate more leads for me, which segment will reach for me. So I put it on a campaign level budget, and I will have a different ad groups asset groups, ad groups,
Ad groups,
asset groups, both the same, but ad groups, and then set the target and let the machine to give me the results. Then based on that, what I'll do is which one is working. I normally do these things. Whichever give me the results, I'll take them out and put a separate campaign. Right. So then that gives me separate results. I can
allocate a dedicated
budget and tell, okay, the client, okay, here I'll bring more people who's looking for apartment near international schools, something like that, right? And then if it is investor oriented, and then whichever, say, sometimes it's easy for me to, when like that, it's easy for me to say, if a client comes and say, I wanted to reduce the CPL, then it's easy to look at it and choose the one is less CPL, and the rest of them stop it. Also will continue the campaign. So that is on the campaign budget. So how lifetime and all these things needs to be spended. Anything that mistakes we were discussing about the mistakes.
Right? Let's discuss about the mistakes.
So one of the mistake is random numbers. Just do $5, right? When I ask, okay, let's put $5. How much for a month? 150. Okay, $5. And then scaling too quick, right? Say, 3 days, when you see a 3 purchases, 5 purchases, increasing or scaling down. Okay, it's not giving results. Let's scale it down. Not go and check granular level data, clicks, and all those things. Just goes on. And having too many campaigns splitting, right? Put a $50 and split it into 10 campaigns. Each will get 5. So these are the things that normal mistakes comes around. And then earlier discussion, reverse calculation. If you wanted to make it to this thing, I think these all on the budgeting, right? Right budget decision, we have to come reverse, or we have to come from this thing. These all are what we have it as a budget planning or budgeting on a campaign level, on a performance marketing, what you have to do. And if you guys have any other thought, any planning, any other things that you guys have in your mind that on the budgeting, just leave it a comment below. We would like to have a discussion on that as well. Right.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. See you in the next episode.